Hello everyone, I am going to read a few poems. The first one's called Disjointed. I know of the ways a body can reject its spirit. I am bound to a country I have no memory of, except that it calls me by wind and blood, a siren's call which thrums beneath my skin, the itch of a wound that refuses to heal. Water flows towards the wound. The elders say if you know your lineage you'll float, because the land will remember for you. But I'm haunted by what was lost. I tell them I command a lineage of secrets. I think the silence is what's made me sink when I tried to swim. I was a child bloated with the knowledge of movement and the chaos that precedes displacement. Water cools grief. My silence is hereditary, and those who swallow stillness are prone to a certain type of madness. I know of the ailments that slowed my foremothers' blood in their vessels, while the women in my family succumbed to madness before old age. I am made of earth and too much fire, blood boiling and sizzling to the surface. Blood is what dried our rivers. Blood is the curse that drew the old country into famine. Water is both the eye and the storm. Water is balance. Water calms the madness. I know Wudu stills rage. A bottle of water hanging from a front door means the evil eye is deflected. Sand touched by seawater cures the body of mysterious ailments. The beach is where the veil between us and the unknown is thinnest. The healers still use rainwater to mix their herbs. The water of the womb is the first water. I see you myself. Perhaps the first step in seeing yourself is unseeing everything you have made a home of, an eye turned inwards, a vast world bare of the static of isolation. Perhaps stillness is not the same as loneliness. After all, silence that fills the lungs and the heart is not a drowning, it is life. You are not water, you are not blood, you are not earth, you are breath, sound, an unspoken language. Know there can be love where you are by yourself. You are not lost, you are floating. You do not need a name to mark your existence. Ode to my father. Dear father, there was never a coincidence in the absence of mirrors in our house. I wonder about the ones broken by you before I was born. Glass shards in your closed fists, youth lost to a persistent grief, a rite of passage through silence and running. How far did you reach before your knees could no longer carry you away from yourself? Were you ever afraid of my mother's love, of the way it poured out of her straight from the pulse of her heart? Is that why you portioned out yours? And which was a more haunting first, the crossing of a border or the birth of a daughter? I know you must have loved at some point, because once when I was 2 years old, you tripped crossing the railroad with me on your shoulders, maneuvered us in a split second so you would take the impact of the fall. And once when I was 14, I woke up in the middle of the night, a soft melody seeping in through the crack of the bedroom door, followed it and found you standing in prayer. I never heard your voice in recitation before, but that evening, your voice, gruff from years of defensiveness, sounded like a miracle, melodic and unwavering. When faced with resentment, I remind myself that love, self-taught in response to abandonment, leaves all those it touches ruined. A loose cannon cannot be blamed for rolling. I am not blind to my lineage. I come from you and you come from absence. And before you, grandfather was a young boy in a military camp trying to find worth in defending a lost country, alternating between empty bottles and damp jail cells after the independence. And long before him was a distant poet wandering the desert. Love cannot be plucked from thin air. I know this now. There is no blame to be held out.